Today we're going to go over Sony Zv-1 accessories and Think Media's recommendations and how it contrasts to recommendations that I would actually use. So Think Media came out with a video on the Zv-1 accessories just a day ago, and they have some recommendations that I like, some that I don't, and let's go over it. First off is the Sony GP-VPT2BT. What I like about it is that the Bluetooth is very seamless. It's amazing to use. What I don't like about it is that it's very short, small, and it does not give you enough reach if you're actually vlogging for yourself. If you're doing your own vlog, it's best to get one of these types of selfie sticks or tripods. It'll give you a lot more reach. It's much more affordable. However, it doesn't have any Bluetooth controls. Being more affordable and having controls is very nice. However, the usability of the product matters just as much as the ease of controls. So I would suggest this type of tripod. It's very inexpensive on Amazon. You don't have to go spend $140 for the Sony vlogging sticks, which has some limitations of its own. Another recommendation that they have is this Ulanzi stick. I'll tell you, I have something very similar, and the problem with these sticks is that the tripod base is very small, and so if you're trying to put up the tripod on a rock or uneven terrain, it's a recipe for disaster. It's gonna fall over. You're not gonna be very stable. So this is very good if you're just holding it and you're speaking with it, but not so good when you're putting it down. Because let's get real, I mean, not everybody's gonna hold and talk all day, are they? I don't know, maybe they are. Next up, they're going over the shotgun mic. I believe this is an inexpensive one. However, I would recommend that you simply put on the furry muff, crank up the volume to higher to 28. That gives you a little bit more volume, since this will drown out some of the noise. You know, using the camera as is, this was designed to have good audio, and it's decent. It's not bad. But if you want to take it the extra mile and you're a vlogger and you're not interested in a shotgun mic, some other people have recommended the external Rode mics, and those are good, but they're a little bit more expensive. If I need to speak with the camera and I need the cleanest audio, here you go. It's an inexpensive lav mic. It does the job fine. There's no batteries. This thing costs like $20. It gets the mic right up to your mouth where you can speak to it. Nice, clear audio. Get an inexpensive lav mic. Next up, they recommend Extreme Plus cards by SanDisk. And to be honest, you don't have to get this brand of card. SanDisk has had problems with Sony in the past, so saying that it's a reliable name brand is just half there. I don't like to spend too much on these SD cards. If you want a card that can handle the throughput, you know, right here they're saying you need 150 megabytes per second, that's fine, but the camera actually records at 100 megabits per second, not bytes. When you translate that, I believe, when you translate that comes out to around 16 megabytes per second. However, that's a constant throughput that you need. So you're looking for a card that has constant throughput, not max burst speed. So I would recommend getting a V30 card. It's rated V30. And you can see on the camera cards itself, here's a photo of one. The V rating is what you need, and get a minimum V30 cards for recording to this without issues. But it's gonna be much faster than the camera's throughput of 100 megabits per second. V30 will give you 30 megabytes per second, which is much more than 16 megabytes per second. Next up, they go over batteries, and here we will talk about the batteries. I don't use extra batteries at all. If you haven't seen in my other video, I have internal charging in my camera bag, and this can go towards the camera bag discussion as well. I have this small little Amazon Basics camera bag, and I stashed this USB power supply. It's a very small one, and it goes on the top. And how I have it set up is I have this power cable in the bag itself, and I have a little cutout at the bottom, and I loop it through with a short cable. This is 5,000 milliamp hour battery. I loop the cable to the top so when I put in the camera, I can keep it topped off. And a topped off camera can give me 1 hour of recording per session, and that's probably long enough for anything that you need. So that's just my take on batteries. I'm not a big fan of buying extra batteries that come in at $50 a pop when this setup right here may have cost me $6 for the bag. It actually cost me like the same amount for the USB cable, and the battery pack was maybe around $10. So we're talking about like $25 total, which gives me more battery capacity than a stack of batteries. And to me, it's more convenient this way, because if you notice with the Zv-1, changing out the battery is a hassle if you have a bottom plate. So I don't change out the batteries because I have this bottom plate. You see the door is stuck.
Dying while you're finishing a thought. So getting a...
Next up, they're going over this USB power supply for the RX 100s and saying that it will work with the Zv-1. I'm going to tell you, that power supply is not going to work with this Zv-1. And I'll show you exactly why it won't work. So the Zv-1 has the bottom tripod mount blocked. I mean, does it get more simpler than that? Those RX 100s, they have a slot for a power out cord. This Zv-1 does not have it. On top of that, this door is non-removable. You cannot remove it. I've asked Sony about it, and they've responded, you cannot remove this battery door, unlike, you know, their bigger cameras, which you can remove without issue. This one, unfortunately, it's stuck dead. You cannot move it. So if it's up like this, you see this tripod socket. There is no way you're getting in this tripod socket to mount your camera. It's not happening. Even if you have just a screw, like a long screw, it's not happening because it's completely blocked. So if you have that little battery, the dummy battery that goes forever, you cannot use it on this camera. So stay away from that recommendation. It's poorly thought out. Here they go over the Peak Design bag, and yeah, I wouldn't disagree. This is a great bag. Probably a little bit too big for my liking, but if you want everything to be carried inside of this bag, yeah, sure, get this bag. It's a really nice bag. 3L, you don't need any bigger. Okay, right here, they're going over a capture card for this camera. This is pre-firmware update. There will be a firmware update on this camera where you can use it as a webcam. I don't know how well that's going to work because I've never seen Sony do that before. So they recommend a cam link, which I have, which I'm using. However, this thing is really expensive. If you look for the 1080p cam link versus the 4K cam link, either one are going to be over $100 to $250. It's not really worth it, in my opinion, just to get a clean HDMI in to your computer. I would definitely recommend this HD video capture card, which has this USB. So the extra USB item is just so that it plugs safely into your computer. Is not going to, you're not going to plug directly into your computer with the USB cable like that and block the ports. So it's nice having this extra little cable around, I would get that version. You can find these on eBay or even on Amazon. I got mine for $20 US. Stay away from the cam link. I mean, I wouldn't stay away completely. I have another video on it, and you can check that out. But if you're just looking to webcam this with this camera, yeah, I would just stay away from it. So now that we're done with their recommendations, I want to go over a few extra items that I would recommend with this camera. The most simplest one is a tripod plate. Yes, I know it blocks the ports, but if you follow how I use the camera with just USB charging and USB transfers, then this makes it super convenient to just pop it in 1 second and take it out, pop it in, take it out. It's just so much more convenient that your camera is quick and ready to use. Next up, if you haven't noticed already, this camera has a small ring on it, and that is this Magfilter system. The Magfilter system, you can mount a 52 millimeter ring on it, and what I use is a wide angle lens. This thing looks ridiculous on the Zv-1, especially when you turn it on. I don't like to turn it on while the motor is sideways because the added stress. So I turn it upwards and then I turn it on. There you go. Look how ridiculous this thing is. But it gives you a much wider view. It gives you a much wider view. And if you're looking for that super wide vlogger kind of look, I have some samples right here. You can see with the wide angle view and without the wide angle view, with the tripod extension and without the tripod extension, and you can decide what's best for you. I do like having a wide angle view because I can do dramatic shots with it. If you have a majestic scene where you're doing an establishing shot, this is where this comes in clutch. You put in the wide angle and you make that establishing shot. Walk in, push in. Another reason why you want this wide angle is because when you're using active steady shot, you lose quite a bit. So I like having that wide angle at times, but other than that, I'm using active steady shot all the time and I leave it on and I just enjoy the focal length that it's at. I don't worry too much, but at times you need that establishing shot. That's what the wide angle is for. This thing cost me $25 on eBay. The Magfilter system cost me $30 on Amazon. It wasn't inexpensive. It did cost some money. Last thing on my accessories list is a small light. This is the Aperture M9. It's really old school light. I got it for $25. It has hardware switches, so it's easy to turn on and off. And it's not too blinding, so you can dial it down. It's just really nice to have these lights around because this is a small sensor, and if you're in a pitch dark place, it's not going to be able to handle it like a full frame camera. So have lights around. It's always good to have lights around. I mean, I just love having these small lights around. Get yourself one of these and you'll be okay. And that concludes my accessories list for the Sony Zv-1. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Like and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you next time. Thank you.